Great is your faithfulness. Lamentations is believed to have been written by Jeremiah. And to read it in the easy-to-read version, we are still alive because the Lord's faithful love never ends. Every morning, He shows it in new ways. You are so very true and loyal. Ito isang very, very dearly loved set of verses. And our main task now is to know, in addition to the usual reading, how to understand and apply these verses, how to see and receive God's eternal and faithful love in its new forms every morning, and thus stay alive. At paano magiging relevant sa ating panahon ngayon ang magiging reading natin and review sa mahalagang mga verses na ito. Ang pamagat ng ating pag-aaral, Survive Times of Crisis. First, the context of the verses are about extreme sufferings that the nation and the writer had experienced. So let us have some glimpses into such suffering essayed by the attendant verses surrounding our theme verses. I am a man who has seen much trouble. God beat us with a stick. He led and brought me into darkness, not light. He turned His hand against me. Even when I cry out and ask for help, He does not listen to my prayer. I thought I would never have peace again. I forgot about good things. I said to myself, I no longer have any hope that the Lord will help me. And we should note that the sufferings are believed to be associated with the conquest and oppression by Babylon or some other power. And we should also note that the people of ancient Judah and Israel ascribed to God everything that happened, whether it was good or bad. Even a lying spirit or an evil spirit from the Lord, they ascribed to God. Sa tingin kasi nila, walang nangyayari sa mundo na hindi galing sa Diyos, hindi pinapayagan ng Diyos. So they ascribe all of this, their defeats, their sorrows, their sufferings, as if God personally and subjectively acts and reacts all the time to whatever the nation does. They believed that they were supremely special to God, so they got confused whenever they got defeated and conquered by foreign powers. Then, this confusion and disappointment is instantly quelled by the belief that their defeat and suffering are God's punishment to them whenever they disobeyed. So, nagkaroon ng pinaglalagyan ang mga pagtataka nila, pagdududa, ang mga pag-aalinlangan. So, dahil naniniwala sila na sila ay paborito ng Diyos, pagka sila ngayon ay nagdurusa na sasakop na ibang bansa, dumaranas ng mga malagim na mga bagay, ang kanilang dahilan at idinadahilan ay nagiging masuwayin sila sa Diyos, kaya sila pinarurusahan. Na para bagang ang Diyos ay nag-react sa bawat gagawin nila and actively participating in their daily life, ready to punish or reward at every given time. But to plumb the meaning and application of the contextual verses of Lamentations 3, we need a fresh take on its other underappreciated meaning. Alam niyo naman siyempre, maraming layers of meaning ang Scripture. At merong mga nagiging paboritong pakahulugan, interpretation, application, ang generations of believers. At kuminsan merong mga hindi gaanong napapansin o na-appreciate na pagbasa at pagpapakahulugan sa mga verses. At yan ngayon ang ating tatangkain. Na bigyan ng bagong pansin at tapunan ng bagong liwanag ang maaring iba pang kahulugan ng verses ng Lamentations na ito para sa atin ngayon. At balikan natin ang Genesis. Genesis 2:2-3 sa paglikha ng Diyos sa buong sansinukob. By the seventh day, God had finished the work He had been doing. So on the seventh day, He rested from all His work. He rested from all the work of creating. So sabi ng Genesis, nilikha ng Diyos ang lahat ng nilikha niya sa 6 na araw at sa ika-7 araw nagpahinga siya. Ibig sabihin, nung dumating uli yung next cycle of the 7-day week, Nung dumating uli yung first day, hindi na nagtrabaho uli ang Diyos noon kasi na-create na niya lahat. So patuloy na siyang laging nakapahinga. Hindi na siya actively creating, recreating dahil ang ginawa niyang system sa kanyang creation is a system that kept on recreating itself, that kept on reusing what could be used, that kept on recycling everything. God had finished creation, set unchanging natural law to govern creation, and has set creation on autopilot. So, hindi na kailangan ng Diyos na bumaba mula sa langit para pabagsakin ng isang batong babagsak dapat. Kaya naglagay na siya ng gravity. Nakatakda na lahat ang laws of nature, ang laws of physics, ang laws of mathematics, laws of chemistry, laws of electricity. Kaya ang lahat ng yan ay automatic nang umaandar. At rest, God may not have to personally and subjectively act and react, answer or ignore, reward or punish, give or take to creation and to creatures. However, may choice naman siya kung gusto niya gawin yun. But the rule is, God is at rest when it comes to matter of creation and recreation. Miracle, or what we call miracle, is when God arises from God's rest, personally and subjectively intervenes, suspends, bypasses, or supersedes natural law to accommodate prayer or do something out of the books. Nakaset na lahat. Meron ang gravity. Kahit ka banal, kahit ka makasalanan, pag nadulas ka at nasa gilid ka ng bangin, mahuhulog ka. Hindi mo kailangang mag-pray na mahulog ka. Automatically mahuhulog ka. At kahit ka naman pray na huwag ka mahulog, mahuhulog ka pa rin kasi may gravity. Unless, of course, nagkaroon ng miracle that God suspends natural law. In other words, everything is set. And even the much demonized Big Bang Theory says that all the fundamental forces of the universe, namely electromagnetic force, weak force, strong force, and gravity, emerge in less than a second. These four forces govern all the laws and interactions of the universe. And I will not belabor this theory, but the point is, even that says, nakaset na ang lahat ng bagay. Godliness, blessedness, answered prayer is in knowing and obeying God's will, which is expressed in natural law. Dahil God ang nag-create ng lahat, paano mo mas makikilala ang Diyos in an objective way? Kilalanin mo ang creation. Kasi kahit sabi sa Romans, nagpapakilala ang may likha sa pamamagitan ng kanyang nilikha. Makikilala mo ang designer pag tinignan mo yung design. At makikilala mo ang Diyos, ang kanyang tunay na will, pag kinilala mo yung will niya na yon embedded in nature. Now, for the sustainability and balance of creation, God has established natural law, like recycling, balance, correction, and other things. Now, nature is built on the concept of giving and receiving, of reciprocation. Even scriptures say the same. 1 John 4:19, we love because He first loved us. Diba? Cyclical yan. Matthew 7:12, so in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. So ang talagang main essence of the law and the prophets is cycles. You give, you receive. You do to others what you want others to do to you. Paulit-ulit, pabalik-balik. All creation have a counterpart that ensures both existences. One cannot exist without the other. And even classical physics talks of duality. Third law of motion. That every action is an equal, opposite reaction. And even scriptures say the same. Genesis 1:4, God separated the light from the darkness. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8, there's a time for birth and death, planting and reaping, for killing and healing, destroying and building, and so on. There's a time for extreme opposites. All of them were made by God. Natural processes repeat and loop back one is born from the other. Sa astronomy, tinatawag na stellar formation. And Scripture says the same. Ecclesiastes 1:5-7. The sun rises and the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, even returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. And Psalm 104:14. He makes grass grow for the cattle and plants for people to cultivate, bringing forth food from the earth. So yung grass, kinain ng baka. Yung baka naman, ay kung namatay sa old age, naging lupa uli, naging grass uli. O kung kinain siya ng lion, yung lion ay namatay din, napunta sa lupa, naging grass uli. O kinain siya ng tao, yung tao namatay din, napunta uli sa lupa, kinain uli ng mga halaman, yung nutrients, naging damo uli. Cycle ng cycle lahat. Everything is recycled. Now, natural processes repeat and loop back. There is cause and effect. And the effect will become causes. And the causes will once again have effects. Tulad ng the laws of science, ng physics, math, chemistry. The law of equivalent exchange. Energy input equals energy output. Sa biological cycle, the carbon-oxygen cycle. And Scripture says the same. 2 Corinthians 8:14, at the present time your plenty will supply what they need, so that in turn their plenty will supply what you need. So, natural processes repeat and loop back. One is born from the other. So there are methods of warning, correction, restoration, in creation. Pag nagkakaroon ng ecological imbalance, may warning yan. Mararamdaman nating lahat. Pagka merong imbalance, halimbawa sa katawan, nagkakasakit ka. Pag merong imbalance sa activity ng mga tao, magkakaroon siya ng mababasa niyang mga senyales that something is wrong. Ganon, naka-automatic ang creation. Meron siyang autopilot. Mararamdaman ng katawan mo pag may sakit ka, ipaparamdam sa'yo. Kahit nga kumisan, gabi, you need to go to the bathroom, gigisingin ka ng sarili mong isip, ng sarili mong katawan. Kasi may imbalance sa katawan mo. Sobrang marami ng mga waste matter na dapat ay ilabas. So, ginawa na yan ng Diyos, lahat-lahat. Hindi tayo kailangang gisingin ng Diyos every time na meron tayong waste matter na kailangang ilabas sa ating katawan, built-in na sa katawan natin. At pagka hindi nagwa-work yung mga built-in systems na yan, magkakaroon ka ng sakit, mararamdaman mo, gagawa mo ng paraan, magpapagamot ka. If you are chemically imbalanced, gagamutin ka ng medications na magbibigay sa'yo ng balance. Kung meron kang psychological, psychiatric imbalance, magkakaroon ka ng counseling o bibigyan ka ng intervention ng mga medicines. Laging ang point natin ibalik sa balance kasi kinirate ng Diyos na may balance at dapat nagre-rebalance automatically ang creation. Now, the law of balance. All processes will continue to move in exchange with each other until both reach an equilibrium. Ganyan din sa ecology at sa ecological balance. And then Scripture says the same. Proverbs 21:13, whoever shuts their ears to the cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. Ang tawag ng iba pa nga, karma. James 4:3, you ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly to spend it on your passions. You are not asking so that you will receive it and you can also give and share. You want it only for yourself, it will not be given to you because the cycle will be cut. There will be no automatic rebalancing of everything, so hindi ibibigay sa iyo ang hinihingi mo. Luke 17:33, whoever tries to keep their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life will preserve it. So you see this rule? You keep what you give away. You give what you want to keep. Pabalik-balik, paulit-ulit. And we should take note, as we have said before, God does not have to personally act and react each and every time humans did something right. And here, by right, we like to attach the meaning in accordance with established natural law. So, pag may ginagawa kang tama, natutulog kang mabuti, nag-aaral ka, uma-attend ka sa mga klase, ang nangyayari, pag nag-exam, papasa ka because you are doing what is right according to natural law. Ngayon, hindi ka nag-aral, nagpuyat ka, naglakwatsa ka, you are not doing what natural law tells you to do, hindi ka papasa, hindi mo magagawa yung gusto mong gawin, it will not work. So, when you do the right thing, God rewards you. When you do what is right in accordance with natural law, the whole system will reward you because you are in harmony with the system. Now, what happens if what you do is wrong or not in accordance with established natural law? Then, as we have said, the system punishes you. Right or wrong here could be according to religious law. And usually that is what we mean by right or wrong. But religious law is mostly man-made. Kaya iba-ibang sekta, iba-ibang religion, iba-iba yung laws. So, paano mo matitiyak na God ang may gawa niyan eh? Iba-iba nga yung mga laws ng iba-iba mga religions. Kaya hindi lahat ng prayers ng religious ay answered. Kasi hindi como religious ay in accordance na agad with God's will. God's will or God's law is more reliably embedded in natural law, which is surely of God's making than in religious or sectarian laws which are mostly man-made. At dito marami nagtataka, nadidisappoint at nadidisillusion. Bakit ako religious? Nagkasakit din ako. Bakit ang dami-dami na nagpe-pray, namatay pa rin yung pasyente? Bakit masunurin sa lahat ng katuroan ng aming relihiyon ng taong ito, tapos nabunggo ng tren? Maraming nagtataka. Pero ang point is, may natural law. Kahit dala mo lahat ng Biblia sa buhay mo, tapos naglalakad ka sa release ng tren nang hindi ka nakatingin at may tren, lalo ngayon, mabilis-bilis na ang mga tren, masasagasaan ka. Kahit anong version ng Bible ang dala-dala mo dyan. Na kahit na ipagdasal ka ng pagkarami-raming tao, pero pinabayaan mo yung katawan mo, nagkaroon ka ng mga sakit na nakukuha because of a very, very unhealthful lifestyle, binrake mo ang natural law, therefore binrake mo ang God's will, therefore meron yung automatic consequence. Hindi kailangan bumaba ng Diyos mula sa langit para ka bigyan ng sakit. Hindi ka bibigyan ng Diyos ng sakit subjectively. Yung sakit automatically, objectively will come to you when there is imbalance in your body because you break God's will expressed in natural law. Yan lang naman ang gusto natin kanina pang i-emphasize at i-point out. A very fresh reading of Lamentations. What does it mean that the blessing of the Lord is new every morning? What does it mean that the Lord will favor those who are living in accordance with His will? What does it mean to follow God's will? Kung ba religious ka, sinusunod mo na God's will, di ba magkakatunggali nga ang maraming mga religious beliefs, magkakaiba ng reading kung ano ang God's will. At siyempre, bias yung mga tao kung ano yung religion nila, yun ang tamang religion. Pero yun din ang iniisip nung nado sa kabilang religion. So ano ang talagang malalaman mong God's will? Gravity is God's will. Kasi kahit anong religion mo, may gravity. Velocity is God's will. Kasi kahit anong relihiyon mo, bumangga ka sa mas malaki sa'yo at mas mabilis, ikaw yung matutumba. Because the law of mass. So, tulad ng sinasabi natin, the will of God is very objectively expressed in natural law. So, tinignan natin ngayon kung anong ibig sabihin ng godliness vis-a-vis natural law. Lagi kasi ang binibigyan nating meaning sa godliness, yung religious meaning nito eh. Kaya maraming nadidisappoint na napaka-religious nila, ba't hindi sila gumaling, ba't hindi sila yumaman, ba't hindi sila pumasa. Kasi nabibreak nila yung natural law, which is the clearer will of God expressed in nature. Siyempre, meron din namang mga religious laws na talagang godly, natural. Meron mga religious policies na talagang from God. Pero paano mo malalaman ang lahat-lahat ng policies kung talagang from God? Especially kung ang mga policies, mga beliefs at interpretations ay magkakasalungat. So, mahalaga, alamin yung God's will in a religious way and lalo na alamin God's will through natural law. Now, tulad ng sinabi natin, right or wrong could be according to natural law, which is God-made. Because you cannot make nature. We cannot create, we can only recreate. Kahit yung mga tinatawag natin mga inventions are only applications of natural law that have been discovered. Pero dati nang nandyan yan, alam na ng Diyos lahat yan, nakalagay yan, embedded in nature. At pag ang mga tao, through instruments, through inquiry, through scientific processes, ay nakaalam ng mga laws of nature at na-apply ito to make inventions, we never create anything. We only rearrange and recreate out of what is previously created by God. Natural law works automatically, objectively, oblivious to people's religiosity, race, gender, or status. Proverbs 22 verse 2, rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. At sinabi rin sa New Testament, there is now no more man or woman, Jew or Gentile, slave or free, dahil kay Jesus lahat ay pantay-pantay at pare-pareho ng muli. Ibinalik ni Jesus sa original status ang humanity na masyadong na-distort ng maraming mga religious experiences of humanity throughout time. Now, an important part of natural law is this: chance. Kasali yan sa natural law. At naiintindihan niya ni Solomon, sabi niya sa Ecclesiastes 9:11, the race is not to the swift, or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Do not be disoriented when chance or stuff happens. Kasali yun. Meron yung accommodation within natural law. Natural law is God's objective, neutral, fixed, and permanent law. Natural law is God's faithful, non-sectarian prophet. Natural law is God's universal law, above human-made sectarian and religious laws. Ecclesiastes 1:7-9. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. And Proverbs 22:8. Whoever sows injustice reaps calamity. Paulit-ulit, pabalik-balik, balancing. Therefore, godliness is obedience to natural law. It is one meaning that we're adding to our rich collection of meanings of godliness. Hindi natin tinatanggal yung godliness meaning obedience to religious law. But now, dinadagdagan natin ang appreciation sa meaning ng godliness, appreciation of, obedience to, submission to natural law, because natural law is God-ordained. Galatians 6:7, God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows, which is very natural law when applied. This being established, we can now proceed to plumb the contextual verses of Lamentations. Introduction pa lang ang discussion natin kanina. Gusto lang nating establish na yes, meron pa mga ibang magagandang readings, siyang Lamentations. Readings ng ibig sabihin ng being blessed. Readings ng being renewed in the Lord. Readings ng ibig sabihin ng godliness and pleasing God and therefore deserving or accepting or receiving blessings. So balikan natin yung mga verses ng Lamentations 3. But then I think about this and I have hope. We are still alive because the Lord's faithful love never ends. And may we read, because the Lord's natural correction and restoration never ends. Every morning He shows it in new ways. You are very true and loyal. I say to myself, the Lord is my God and I trust Him. Or, the Lord is my portion and I trust Him. And if we apply this, I will trust in and abide by His natural law. Pag sinabi mong, the Lord is my God, I will trust Him. Anong trust yun? First of all, trust in His natural law. Operate by it, obey it, live within its bounds, and you will be blessed. And the blessing will be automatic because it is built in. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him. He is good to those who look for Him. Now, an application that we like to propose now is that the Lord is good to those who wait and look for His natural law. Lamentations 3:26, it is good to wait quietly for the Lord to save them. And if I may add, and not make drama. He should remember that the Lord does not reject people forever. When He punishes, He also has mercy. He has mercy because of His great love and kindness, which we like to read as mayroong limit, may end ang correction. When balance is reached, titigil na ang correction. Pag gumaling na, titigil na ang medication. Pag naliwanagan na, titigilan na ang further illumination. So, ano ang application niyan sa buhay natin? To receive the blessings that we search for in Lamentations, magkusang mag-balance. Gusto mo palang ma-bless? Seek the Lord. Seek His law. Seek His natural law and abide by it, obey it, and if you had committed a mistake, correct it. Para magkaroon ng automatic correction, automatic balancing, automatic restoration. He does not enjoy causing people pain. He does not like to make anyone unhappy. But natural law is objective. No one is above natural law, no matter the religious status. Remember that. Dahil yan ang source ng maraming disappointment ng mga relihiyoso. Kuminsan, they neglect natural law and all they do is religious ritual, religious activity. Tapos, nagtataka sila pag hindi nila nakamit yung kanilang hinihiling sa Diyos. No one can say something and make it happen unless the Lord orders it. Or if we may say, unless it conforms with God's natural law. So, wag puro dasal, ngawa, pero walang gawa. Plant to harvest. Position yourself in the path of blessing, like the tree planted by streams of water. Alam nga namang tree ka, ang layo-layo mo sa streams of water, tapos ina-expect mo, sariwa ang dahon mo, mamunga ka, mamulaklak sa panahon, at maging malabay at matibay. At sa buhay, maraming ganyan. Sasabihin nila, the Lord will provide. So, very religious, very spiritual ang dating. Pero hindi nagtatrabaho. Hindi nagtatanim. Walang ginagawang gainful employment or gainful production. Tapos nagtataka sila, nagdurusa sila, nagdarahop, naghihirap. Tapos sasabihin na, nasa na yung promise that the Lord will provide? Yes, the Lord will provide, but may gagawin ka. Tulad ng sabi na matatanda, nasa Diyos ang awa, nasa tao ang gawa. Plant so that you will harvest. Don't ask God to plant for you. When you plant, inilagay na ng Diyos sa lupa, sa hangin, sa tubig, ang lahat ng elements para yung itinanim mo ay magbunga. So, hindi na kailangang bumaba ang Diyos mula sa langit para alagaan yung tanim mo. Built-in na. Pero kung nagtanim ka sa lupang hindi naman mataba, hindi mo naman diniligan, inilagay mo yung halaman na pang desert doon sa tabi ng ilog o sa basang-basang lupa, hindi magpa-prosper ang iyong agriculture. Kaya dapat alam mo yung laws of nature. Because God made all those laws. To be godly is to know and abide by the laws of nature. Huwag kang puro relihiyon, tapos walang gawa. Marami yan, mga living by faith po kami. Yung pala, living by hingi. Living by asking people to help them all the time. Faith ba yun? Di ba? Merong mga ganyang mga klaseng paniniwala na hindi sila gumagawa ng practical. Hindi nila ginagamot ang sarili, hindi sila nagpapagamot, hindi sila na bumuhay in a healthful way. Tapos nag-expect sila ng healthy bodies. Respect the law of nature. To disrespect the law of nature is to disrespect the lawgiver, who is God. Do what is humanly possible and practical. Then, pag nando ka na sa dulo ng kaya mo, hanggang doon ka na lang, doon ka humingi ng tulong sa Diyos. Doon ka magpatulong dahil hindi mo na kaya. Nasa dulo ka na ng kaya mo. Pero yung kayang-kaya mo pa, dapat gawin mo yon. Do what is natural and what is naturally possible. Obey natural law. Do not ask God to suspend natural law to reward your unlawful behavior. God Most High commands both good and bad things to happen. Now, the good there or the bad is only local or personal. Halimbawa, yung tinatawag mong bad weather. Bad weather, halimbawa, sa fisherman, yung good weather sa farmer. Kaya wala namang masungit na panahon. Wala namang masamang panahon. Kasi kailangan ng mundo ang kidlat, ang kulog. Kailangan ng universe ang mga ulan, ang tubig. Pati yung mga baha. You know, the Egyptian civilization was nourished by the flooding of the Nile. So, hindi masama yung flood. Ang masama lang kung tumira ka dun sa dadaanan ng flood. O noong summer, naglagay ka ng bahay sa isang lugar na yung pala, pagka panahon ng baha, aano rin. So, nagiging parang bad tuloy. Again, what is bad there? You did not obey the law of nature. Tumira ka sa hindi mo dapat tirhan. Nagtanim ka sa hindi oras. Lumagay ka sa maling lugar. Nagiging mukha tuloy bad. So, sinasabi natin, God sends us bad things. No, bad there means magiging bad ang result niyan pagka hindi ka nakinig sa God-ordained natural law. So, the lion, for instance, versus the gazelle. Sasabihin natin, ang sama-sama naman ng lion. Humuli siya ng gazelle, ng usa, para lapain niya. Pero pag nakita mo yung lion, sinundan mo, dadalhin pala niya yung karne doon sa mga anak niyang maliliit na binubuhay niya. So, bad pa ba yung lion? Ngayon, yung gazelle, huwag kang magpakalat-kalat kung maraming lion o mag-practice kang tumakbo ng mabilis. That's why they're always together, because the survival of the species, it's what is important in ecology, not the personal survival of each individual. So, ang mahalaga, magkaroon ng balance. So, pag sobrang daming leon, mauubos ang kakainin nila, mamamatay din yung ibang leon, konti lang matitira. So, magkakaroon ng chance na dumami uli yung mga usa, magkakaroon na naman ng ecological balance. Hindi kailangan ng Diyos na makialam sa bawat habulan ng usa at lion. May natural laws at work. So, usa ka, ikaw natapilok, mahirap ka kang tumakbo, ikaw ang didisikitahan ng leon para madali kang hulihin at makain. So, meron ding cause and effect involved here. The fisherman or the fish or versus the fish. Masama ba yung fisherman? Hinuli niya yung fish? Paano hanap buhay niya yon? Kaya lang, kung point of view mo, ikaw naman yung fish na nawala ng nanay dahil yung nanay mo nahuli ng lambat, di bad yung fisherman. But the point is, the whole ecological balance between what you call preys and predators is set. Kaya mahalaga, hindi tayo nakikialam, hindi natin dinidisturb yung ganong mga situation. Kasi pa nagkaroon ng mga imbalances, even in a faraway forest, your life in your town or city will also be affected. Dahil merong imbalance, it will be corrected objectively. Kahit anong dasal ang gawin mo dyan, ang kailangan, yung dasal mo is in accordance with God's will. Mag-reforest ka. Huwag ka lang magdasal, Diyos ko, huwag niyo pong pabahain. Ang tanong ng Diyos, kalbo ang mga gubat. Ba't mo kinalbo? Magkakabaha talaga. Don't make me suspend the laws of nature that had been there even before you were born. Why don't you just conform? Bakit mo pinapabayagan yung mga tao na kalbuhin nila mga gubat? Tapos sila lang yung nakikinabang, ang dami-dami mga tao, babahain, sila yung magugutom, sila yung malulunod, sila yung maiistorbo sa kailangan hanap buhay. Magkakaroon ng imbalance ang buhay nyo kasi merong imbalance yung nature. So kahit anong gawing dasal, ang mga relihiyon, kailangan yung dasal na yun is in accordance also with practical obedience to the other will of God that is not religious. The scientific, the natural law of God. Universally, everything in creation is good. Why? Genesis 1:31. God saw that all He had made, and it was very good. Dapat lang tayong mga creation ay nasa tamang lugar at ginagawa natin ang mga bagay sa tamang panahon. Ecclesiastes 3:11, He has made everything beautiful in its time. No one alive can complain when He punishes them for their sins. Let us check and see what we have done. Then let us turn back to God. Now, of course, sins ang pinag-uusapan dyan, and most of the time, ang magiging definition naman natin sin is within the religious frame, yung sin according to the religious doctrines. But sin could be moral or religious, and also, as we have been laboring to Bakit sin yun? Because when you sin against natural law, you are sinning against the lawgiver who is God. So, merong sin na religious at merong sin na sin against natural law. Dahil merong cause and effect, merong consequence, therefore may punishment. Let us lift up our hearts and our hands to the God of heaven. And we can read this, enrich its reading, add to its reading, to mean let us submit to and abide by God's natural law. Let us say to Him, we have sinned and have been stubborn. Because of this, you have not forgiven us. So ano yan? Cause and effect lang. Huwag natin personalin. Yung iba, sobrang pinapersonal, nagtatampo pa sa Diyos. Yung, bakit ipinagdasal ko po ang nanay ko, tapos namatay pa rin? Bakit naman, napakabait ng tatay ko sa dinami-rami ng mga tao, bakit siya pa po yung namatay? So magtatampo sa Diyos, hindi na magba-Bible study, hindi na magpe-pray, bibitawan ng ministry. Ang tanong ito, sinunod ba ninyo ang natural law? Yes, sinunod naman po namin lahat. Pray pa po kami ng pray. Well, may isa pang natural law, time and chance. Nasabi ng napakatalinong si Solomon, hindi lahat ng mabilis ang nananalo sa karera. Hindi lahat ng matalino ang nagkakaroon ng pagkain. At hindi lahat ng iyong inaasahan at ginagawa mo kung ano yung practical, mangyayari. Sabi niya, time and chance happens to all. Huwag personalin pag natamaan tayo ng time and chance. Parang natamaan ka ng kidlat. Huwag mong personalin. Hindi pinlano ng Diyos na sa ganung oras, sa ganung lugar, ilagay ka doon para tamaan ka ng kidlat sa lugar na yon. Time and chance. At meron naman, cause and effect. Naglalakad ka sa isang very exposed area, may mga kulog, kidlat, nakapayong ka ng metallic payong, tinamaan siyempre ng kidlat yung payong mo because it attracts yung kidlat, may scientific reason yan. Therefore, binrake mo yung natural law, may consequence. God did not have to personally punish you kasi all of that is built into creation. You just have to, like a plant, put yourself near living waters. Ilagay mo ang sarili mo sa tama at mapapabuti ka. Gawin mo mga bagay sa tamang timing at mapapabuti ka. You wrap yourself with anger. You chased us. You killed us without mercy. Ito ay sinasabi ng Lamentations addressed to God. But this is not personal or subjective. This is just cause and effect. Pag humawa ka sa live wire, huwag mo sabihin, pinatay ako ng Diyos. Hindi kailangan bumaba ang Diyos sa langit para ka kuryentehin. Nandun yun. Kailangan alam mo yun. At huwag mong hawakan yun, huwag ka mag-expose doon. Paano kung hindi mo alam? Well, ignorance of the law excuses no one. Kaya dapat mong alamin. At huwag kang magtampo. Dasal naman po ako ng dasal, bigay ako sa mahihirap. Bakit naman nung hinawakan ko yung live wire, namatay ako bigla? Natural law Huwag personalin. Objective yan, hindi subjective. You wrapped yourself in a cloud so no prayer could get through. Dito nagmumukhang hindi nakikinig ang Diyos sa dasal, ayaw niyang makinig, but the objective laws of nature cannot and should not be trivialized by subjective pleadings. Hindi ka nag-aral, tapos magdadasal ka dyan na pumasa sa exam, yun yung sinasabing hindi dininig yung prayer. Hindi lumusot, hindi pumasok, kasi not in accordance with natural law. Para ka magkaroon ng alam na isasagot sa exam, dapat kang mag-aral. Ngayon, nag-aral ka ng nag-aral, hindi pa naman yung mga napag-aralan mong itinanong, bumagsak ka pa rin, time and chance. Again, may lugar yan pag pinag-isipan natin yung laws of creation. I will continue to cry until you look down and see us, Lord. I will continue to cry until you see us from heaven. Now, cry here should mean review, surrender, correct my ways, so I could work well within your natural law and consequently be blessed. Correct my ways so I could obtain good effects by and with a good cause and method. Paano natin i-apply ang ganito mga bagay at mga isipin? Dapat tayong tumitingin sa verses in many ways para magkaroon tayo ng understanding sa mga bagay na ang tagal-tagal na natin hindi maintindihan tapos ipinagtatampo pa ko minsan sa Diyos. Survive by, thrive in, benefit from God's steadfast love, mercy, and faithfulness by understanding and abiding in His will, His natural law. By doing what is scientific, logical, natural, and practical because that is godly. Because God is God of science, of logic, of natural and practical laws. In fact, science could be God's last prophet. Maraming mga human prophets, maraming mga pretentious prophets, pero science, knowledge, objective knowledge could be God's very, very clear prophet. Why? Kasi ang ituturo sa atin ng mga ito, ang kanilang sasabihin ay mga pawang galing talaga sa Diyos. Hindi pwedeng imbentuhin ng tao. Survive times of crisis.